Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to look at the video solutions to the negative numbers real-life practice questions. So that's the solutions to the practice questions that look at negative numbers which might involve real-life situations. If you need any extra help on this topic, you just go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll down to video number 209, and there's a dedicated video tutorial there on teaching you how to approach negative numbers in a real-life situation. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code. But in this video, we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. So let's have a look at question number one. So question number one says these are the temperatures in some towns on the same day. So we've got some towns and we've got the temperatures in those towns. So in Leek, it's -8 degrees Celsius. In Milton, it's 12 degrees Celsius. In Donhampton, it's -11 degrees Celsius. In Redtown, it's 7 degrees Celsius. And in Sandville, it's -16 degrees Celsius. And question A says, which town has the highest temperature? So if we have a look at these temperatures, the highest temperature would be 12 degrees Celsius, and that's in Milton. And the question says, which town has the highest temperature? So that would be Milton. So Milton. Part B says which town has the lowest temperature. So if we have a look at these temperatures, the lowest temperature would be -16 degrees Celsius, and that's in Sandville. And the question says which town has the lowest temperature? So the answer would be Sandville. Okay, part C. Part C says the temperature in Randallstown at the same time is 10 degrees Celsius colder than Leek. What is the temperature in Randallstown? So let's go up and see what temperature it is in Leek. So as you can see here in Leek, it's -8 degrees Celsius. So Leek is -8 degrees Celsius. And the temperature in Randallstown is 10 degrees colder than that. So it's 10 degrees below -8 Celsius. And 10 degrees below -8 Celsius would be -18 degrees Celsius, because -8 take away another 10 would be -18. So that's -18 degrees Celsius. So what's the temperature in Randallstown? It's -18 degrees Celsius. Actually, I've written degrees Celsius instead for us already, so I just needed to write -18, but there we go. Okay, our next question number 2. Question number 2 says the temperature in degrees Celsius at midday at a weather station on 5 days was recorded. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and these are the temperatures in degrees Celsius. So on Monday at midday, it was 2 degrees Celsius. On Tuesday, it was -1 degree Celsius. On Wednesday, -2 degrees Celsius. On Thursday, -5 degrees Celsius. And on Friday, 3 degrees Celsius. And part A says which day was the warmest. So if we have a look at these numbers, the highest number is the 3 degrees Celsius. So which day was the warmest? That will be Friday. It was the warmest on Friday. And part B says which day was the coldest. So we're looking for the coldest temperature, and that would be -5 degrees Celsius. So that was on Thursday. So which day was the coldest? Thursday. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 3. So question number 3 says the table shows the minimum and maximum daily temperature in 6 cities in the United States of America in January. So we've got New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Boston and Anchorage. I've got the minimum temperature in degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature in degrees Celsius. So for instance, in Chicago, the minimum temperature was -4 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature was 8 degrees Celsius, and so on. So part A says which city recorded the lowest minimum temperature. So we're looking for the lowest minimum temperature. So we're looking at the minimum temperature. So we're looking at this column, and the lowest number in this column is this number here, -12 degrees Celsius. This is the lowest number. That's the lowest minimum temperature. And the question says which city recorded the lowest minimum temperature. That's Anchorage. So Anchorage. Okay, part B. Okay, let's have a look at part B. So part B says, what's the difference in degrees Celsius between Boston's minimum and maximum temperature? So if we have a look at Boston here, we've got Boston here, and the minimum temperature in Boston is -2 degrees Celsius, and the maximum temperature in Boston was 13 degrees Celsius. And we're looking for the difference between those numbers. So in other words, what's the difference between -2 and 13? Now we can do that in a couple of different ways. I like to think of it like this. I like to think of -2 and how we would get to 13. So to get from -2 to 0, we would add 2. And to get from 0 to 13, we would add another 13. So that means to get from -2 to 13, we would add 15. So that means that the difference between the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature would be 15 degrees Celsius. So that's one way we could do this question. Another way we could do it is to just take away the temperatures. So take the maximum temperature, which is 13 degrees Celsius, and subtract the minimum temperature, which is -2 degrees Celsius. And 13 subtract -2 would be 13 minus -2, that'll be 13 plus 2, and 13 plus 2 would be 15. So the answer would be 15 degrees Celsius, because whenever we subtract the negative, it's the same as adding. So we do 13 add 2, which is 15. And either approach would be fine. Okay, part C. Part C says, what is the difference in degrees Celsius between Anchorage's minimum temperature and maximum temperature? So this time we're looking at Anchorage, and Anchorage has a minimum temperature of -12 degrees Celsius and a maximum temperature of -5 degrees Celsius. So again, we could approach this in two different ways. We could treat it like a number line. So we want to get from -12 to -5. And to get from -12 to -5, we would go up 7. So we would add 7. So that means the difference between the temperatures is 7 degrees Celsius. Alternatively, we could do the subtraction. So we could just take our highest temperature, the maximum temperature, which is -5, and subtract the minimum temperature, which is -12. So we've got -5 minus -12. So that's going to be -5 plus 12. And -5 plus 12 would be 7. So that would be 7 degrees Celsius. So the difference between those two temperatures is 7 degrees Celsius. Okay, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So let's have a look at question number 4. So question number 4 says, shown below is a list of cities and their elevations. So we've got these cities: Georgetown, Amsterdam, Paris, New Orleans, Salton City, and Dublin. And we've got their elevations. So for instance, Dublin is 8 meters above sea level. Paris is 34 meters above sea level. Amsterdam has an elevation of 1 meter below sea level, and so on. And part A says, list the cities that are below sea level, 0 meters. So we're looking for the cities that have an elevation that is negative, in other words, it's below sea level. So the cities will be Georgetown. That's going to have an elevation that's below 0, so that elevation is below 0. Amsterdam, New Orleans, and Salton City. All of those cities have elevations that are below 0, so they've got elevations that are below sea level, whereas Paris and Dublin, as you can see, are above sea level. And that's it. So I've just listed the cities: Georgetown, Amsterdam, New Orleans, and Salton City. Okay, let's look at part B. Part B says which city has the lowest elevation. So let's look at these elevations: -2, -1, 34, -2, -38. That's definitely going to be the lowest one here, and 8. So -38 meters is the lowest elevation. So that's Salton City. So let's write that down: Salton City. Part C. Part C says which city has the highest elevation. So let's look at these elevations. The highest ones, well, let's look at Paris and Dublin, because they're the only elevations that are above sea level, 8 meters and 34 meters. So Paris has got the highest elevations. So let's write that down: Paris. And part D says work out the difference between Georgetown's and Dublin's elevations. So if we look at Georgetown and Dublin, so Georgetown's elevation is -2 meters and Dublin's elevation is 8 meters. So we want to work out the difference between those two numbers. So we could go from -2 to 8, and to get from -2 to 8, we would add 2 to get to 0. So if we add 2, we get to 0, and then we add another 8. And that means to get from -2 to 8, you would add 2 and add 8, so that's the same as adding 10. So that means the difference between these two numbers is 10. Alternatively, we could treat it as a subtraction, so we could take the highest elevation, which is 8 meters, and subtract the lowest elevation, which is -2 meters, and 8 minus -2 would be 8 plus 2, and 8 plus 2 is equal to 10 meters. So that means the difference between those two elevations is 10 meters. So let's write that down: 10 meters. 10 meters, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question. So question number 5. Question number 5 says work out the difference between -3 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius. So again, we could treat it like a number line. So we've got -3 and 4. And to get from -3 to 4, we could add 3 to get to 0. And then we would add 4 to get to 4. So that means we would add 7 altogether, because 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So that means to get from -3 to 4, we would add 7. So that means the difference between those two numbers is 7 degrees Celsius. So that's one way we could approach that question. Alternatively, we could do the subtraction, take the highest temperature, 4, and subtract the lowest one, which is -3. And we'll go 4 subtract -3, so it's going to be 4 minus -3. So it's going to be 4 plus 3, and 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. And that's it. And then we're told at 5 a.m. the temperature is -6 degrees Celsius. And by 2 p.m. the temperature went up 9 degrees Celsius. So it went up 9 degrees Celsius. And from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. the temperature went down by 15 degrees Celsius. Work out the temperature at 11 p.m. So let's start off with the first temperature. We know at 5 a.m. the temperature is -6 degrees Celsius. And by 2 p.m. it goes up by 9 degrees Celsius. So we need to do -6 plus 9, because it goes up by 9 degrees Celsius. And if we have -6 and we add 9, well, adding 6 will bring us to 0. And then adding another 3 would bring us to 3. So it would be 3 degrees Celsius. That means the temperature at 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m. the temperature is 3 degrees Celsius. Now we're told that from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. the temperature goes down by 15 degrees Celsius. So the temperature is 3 degrees Celsius and it goes down by 15. So if we take away 15, we can find out what the temperature is at 11 p.m. And if we do 3 take away 15, well, if we take away 3, we get to 0. And then if we take away another 12, we would get to negative 12. So that's negative 12 degrees Celsius. And so the temperature at 11 p.m. would be negative 12 degrees Celsius. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. Okay, let's have a look at question number 6. So question number 6 says, Frome Rovers start a football season on negative 10 points. So for some reason, this football team, Frome Rovers, have started on negative 10 points. And now we're told that each win is worth 3 points, a draw is worth 1 point, and a loss is worth 0 points. So that would be the points that results are typically worth in football. A win's normally worth 3 points, a draw is normally worth 1, and a loss is normally worth 0 points. And over the season, Frome Rovers won 11 matches, they drew 6 matches, and they lost 3 matches. And then we're asked how many points did they finish with at the end of the season. So let's start off with these matches that they won. They won 11 matches, and each win is worth 3 points. So let's multiply 11 by 3, and that would tell us how many points they get for winning those 11 matches. So 11 multiplied by 3 would be equal to 33 points. So for those 11 matches that they win, those 11 matches, they would get 33 points. Next, we're told that they draw 6 matches. So if we take those 6 matches and we multiply that by 1, how many points you get for a draw, that would tell us how many points Frome Rovers got for their draws. So 6 times 1 is equal to 6. So they get 6 points for their draws. And then finally, for their losses, they lose 3 matches. Now, they're worth 0 points anyway, so 3 times 0 is equal to 0, so they don't get any points for those losses. So if we add together the 33 and the 6, that would tell us how many points Frome Rovers get over the season for winning their 11 matches and drawing their 9 matches. And 33 plus 6 is equal to 39 points. So that means that Frome Rovers, over the course of a season, are given 39 points for their 11 wins and 6 draws. Now, they start the season on negative 10 points. So that means that they start negative 10 points, and over the course of the season, they get 39 points. So if we add those 39 points onto the negative 10 that they've started with, that would tell us how many points Frome Rovers will finish the season on. So we need to do negative 10 plus 39. And negative 10 plus 39, well, if we add 10, we get to 0, and then we've got another 29 to add, so that will bring us to 29. So that means that at the end of the season, Frome Rovers will have 29 points. And that's it. So how many points did they finish with at the end of the season? The answer is 29. Now, we could have done this in a different way. We could have found out that over the course of the season, they got 39 points. And then we had the negative 10 points. So we could have just taken 10 away from 39. And that would give us our 29 points that they finished the season on. Okay, let's look at our next question. Question number 7 says, Fiona's playing a game. And it looks like there's a target. And she's got some balls. And she throws 8 balls at the target one at a time. So she's not throwing all 8 in one go. She's throwing one at a time. And if she hits the target, she gets 5 points, but if she misses, she loses 3 points, so she's given negative 3 points. And Fiona hits the target with 5 balls and she misses with the rest. How many points does Fiona score? So she hits it with 5 balls, and each hit is worth 5 points. So if we do 5 times 5, that's equal to 25 points. So that means that for the 5 balls, she gets 25 points. But she misses with the rest. Now there's 8 balls altogether, and she hits the target with 5 of them. So if we do 8 take away 5, that's equal to 3. That means there's 3 misses. So there's 3 misses. And each miss is worth negative 3 points, or she loses 3 points. That's another way to think of it. We could do 3 times 3 is 9, and she loses those points, so we could just take 9 away from 25. That's one way we could do it. Alternatively, we could do 3 multiplied by negative 3, and a positive times a negative is a negative, and 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 times negative 3 would be negative 9. So she gets negative 9 points for the misses, and then if we just add those two together, which is the same as just taking away 9, we'll get that's equal to 16 points. So 25 plus negative 9 would be equal to, well, adding a negative means we're just taking away, so we've got 25 take away 9 is equal to 16, and that means that Fiona scores 16 points. Or as I said, another way to think of it is that she hits a target with 5 balls. 5 times 5 is 25 points. She misses with 3, and each time she misses, she loses 3 points. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 25 take away 9 is 16. And that's probably how I'd actually approach that question. Okay, part B. Part B says Chris throws 9 balls at the target, one at a time. Is it possible for Chris to score the same number of points as Fiona? Now, Fiona scored 16 points, so we want to see, can Chris score 16 points? So here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to actually choose a number of times that Chris hits the target with and misses the target with and see, can he get 16? So let's make a little table. Let's do hits and miss, so hit and miss. So if, for instance, Chris hit the target on 5 occasions and missed on 4 times, because obviously he's got 9 balls, if he hits 5 times and misses 4 times, how many points would he get? So let's write points here and see what he would get. So if he hits 5 times, that's 5 times 5, because each time he hits the target, it's worth 5 points, and 5 times 5 is equal to 25. And each time he misses the target, he loses 3 points. So 4 times 3 is equal to 12. And he loses 12 points, so we're going to do 25, take away 12 is equal to 13. So that means that if he hits 5 times and misses 4 times, he would get 13 points. Now we want to see, can he get the same number of points as Fiona, which is 16. So 13 is too low. Let's let Chris hit the target another time. So let's say that Chris hits the target 6 times. Now he's got 9 balls. That means he would have to miss 3 times. So now let's see what he would get if he hits the target 6 times and misses 3 times. So 6 times 5, because each time he hits a target, he gets 5 points. 6 times 5 is equal to 30. He misses 3 times, so he loses 3 points every time he misses. So 3 times 3 is equal to 9, and he loses those 9 points. So we're going to do 30 take away 9, and 30 take away 9 is equal to 21. So if Chris hits the target 5 times and misses 4 times, he gets 13 points. If he hits 6 times and misses 3 times, he would get 21 points. Now, we want to know, can Chris get 16 points? But if he hits 7 times and misses twice, he's actually going to get more points than 21. And if he hits 4 times and misses 5 times, he would get less than 13 points. So it's not going to be possible for Chris to get a number such as 16 points because it's in between the 13 and 21. And if he hits more times, he'll get more points. If he hits less times, he'll get less points. So because he can only get 13 and 21, he can't get 16 points. So can Chris score the same number of points as Fiona? The answer would be no. And that's it. Okay, question number 8. So question number 8 says, at 9 p.m. the temperature in Bristol is 2 degrees Celsius. And at 3 a.m. the temperature was minus 6 degrees Celsius, so the temperature's gone down. And the question says, by how many degrees Celsius did the temperature fall by? So we can do this in 2 different ways. We can do subtraction, or we could consider a number line. So I'm going to start off with the subtraction technique. So I'm going to choose the highest temperature, which is 2 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to do 2 subtract to negative 6. Because if I take away the 2 temperatures, I can then see how many degrees the temperature's gone down by. So if we do 2 subtract negative 6, or 2 minus minus 6, that's going to be the same as 2 plus 6, and 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. So that means the temperature fell by 8 degrees Celsius. Alternatively, we could consider a number line, and we want to see how much you would go down by to get from 2 down to negative 6. So we would take away 2 to begin with, so that would bring us down to 0, and then we would down by another 6 to get to negative 6. So altogether, the temperature would have fallen by 8 degrees Celsius. So the answer would be 8 degrees Celsius, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 9. So question number 9 says, the temperature in degrees Celsius at midnight at a weather station on 5 days was recorded. So we've got these 5 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we've got their temperatures, -4, 1, -6, 1, and -2. And the question says, what fraction of the days had a temperature below 0 degrees Celsius? In other words, whenever it's negative. So that's below 0 degrees Celsius. 1 degree isn't, -6 is below 0, and -2 is below 0. So 3 of the 5 days have got a negative temperature. So that means that 3/5 of the days have a temperature that's below 0 degrees Celsius. And that's it. Okay, part B. Part B says, what is the range of the temperatures? So to find the range, we do the largest value subtract the smallest value in a data set. So if we have a look at these temperatures, the highest temperature would be 1 degree Celsius, and it happens twice, so it's also the mode, but the highest temperature is 1 degree Celsius, and the lowest temperature is -6 degrees Celsius. So if we do 1 subtract to -6, we will find the range, the difference between the smallest and the largest value. So 1 subtract -6, or 1 minus -6, would be the same as 1 plus 6, and 1 plus 6 is equal to 7. So that means the range of the temperatures would be 7 degrees Celsius, and that's the difference between the lowest temperature and the highest temperature. Okay, part C. Part C says, what is the mean of the temperatures recorded? So to find the mean, we would add up all the values and divide by the number of values. Now, because it's 5 days, we're going to divide by 5, so we need to add up all the values and divide by 5. So let's do that. We'll just do our working out up here. So we're going to do -4 plus 1 plus -6 plus 1 plus -2. And so that would be if we do -4 plus 1 plus -6 plus 1 plus -2. Let's see what we get. So -4 plus 1 would be -3. Plus -6 is the same as subtracting 6. So -3 subtract 6 would be -9. Plus 1 would be -8. And then adding -2 would mean we go down another 2, so that would be -10. So adding up all these temperatures gives us -10. Now we just need to divide by the number of numbers. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So we're going to do -10 divided by 5. And now 10 divided by 5 is 2. So -10 divided by 5 would be -2. So that means that the mean temperature is -2 degrees Celsius. Just adding up the values and dividing by 5. And that's it. So -2. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at question number 10. So question number 10, it's a calculator question, and we're told, on Tuesday morning, Marley's bank balance is negative £195.20. That means that Marley is overdrawn. He owes the bank money. So it's below zero. He owes the bank £195.20, and it's called an overdraft. He's overdrawn. And Marley goes into the bank and puts £88.50 into his bank account. Work out his new bank balance. So if we take how much money he's got in the bank to begin with, the minus £195.20, and we add in how much money he puts into the bank, which is £88.50, if we work that out, it'll tell us what his new bank balance will be. And it's a calculator question, and we can just type that into our calculator. So we just type in minus £195.20 plus £88.50, and the answer would be minus £106.70. So that means he's still overdrawn, and he'll be overdrawn by £106.70, but he's not as overdrawn as he was, so he's gone back up towards zero. Okay, let's look at question number 11. Okay, let's have a look at question number 11. So question number 11 says, Tristan has taken part in a maths competition, and each correct answer is worth 12 points, and each incorrect answer is worth negative 8 points. And if Tristan chooses not to answer a question, it's worth negative 3 points. And there's 10 questions in total. Tristan answers 3 questions correctly, 6 questions incorrectly, and leaves 1 blank. Work out Tristan's final score. Now here he gets 12 points for each correct answer, and he answers 3 questions correctly. So if we do 3 times 12, that'll tell us how many points Tristan gets for his correct answers. And 3 times 12 is equal to 36 points. So that's 36 points he gets for those 3 correct answers. Now with the answers that he gets incorrect, or the ones he leaves blank, he loses points. So if he answers it incorrectly, he loses 8 points for each incorrect answer. Now he answers 6 incorrectly. So if we do 6 times 8, 6 times 8 is equal to 48. So that means he's going to lose 48 points for those incorrect answers. And also he leaves 1 blank, and each blank one's worth minus 3. So that means he loses 3 points for each time he leaves 1 blank. So that means he's going to lose another 3 points. So we're going to do 1 times 3 is equal to 3. And that means altogether he will lose 51 points. So he gets 36 points for his correct answers, and he's going to lose 51. So he's actually going to have a negative score at the end. So he's got 36 points, and we're going to take away 51. And let's see what we get. So 36 take away 36 is 0, but 51 is 15 bigger than 36. That means we've got another 15 to subtract. So 0 take away 15 would be minus 15. So that means that he would finish on minus 15 points. And that's it. So Tristan's final score would be negative 15 points. So just to recap, he answered 3 questions correctly. He gets 12 points for each correct answer, so he gets 36 points. For his 6 incorrect answers, he loses 8 points for each one. 6 times 8 is 48, so he's going to lose 48 points. And for the answer he leaves blank, he loses 3 points. So that means he loses another 3 points. That'll be 51 points he loses in total. And 36 take away 51, well 36 take away 36 is 0. We'd have another 15 to take away, so that'll bring us down to negative 15 points. And that's it. Okay, let's look at question number 12. Okay, let's have a look at question number 12. So question number 12 says, submarine A is 658 metres below sea level. So if we've got sea level, so here's sea level, and we've got submarine A, so let's draw a little sketch. So if we've got submarine A, so let's go down 658 metres. So down here is submarine A. And this is my little submarine here. And there we go. And it is a distance of, if we go down, it's a distance of 658 metres below sea level. So that means it's 658 metres below sea level. And then we're told submarine B is 177 metres higher than submarine A. So here's submarine A, and if we go up 177 metres, so 177 metres, if we go up 177 metres, there'd be submarine B. So up here, so submarine B. And we've got submarine A and submarine B. And then the question says, complete the sentence. Submarine B, so this submarine B, is so many metres below sea level. So we're trying to find out how many metres below sea level submarine B is. So we want to find this distance here. And that's quite straightforward because submarine A is 658 metres below sea level. And submarine B is 177 metres above that. So we just need to find this distance here. How many metres below sea level is submarine B? So if we just take 177 metres away from 658 metres, we can then find out how many metres submarine B is below sea level. So we can just do 658 subtract 177, and that's equal to 481. So that means that submarine B is 481 metres below sea level, and that's it. So that means that submarine B is 481 metres below sea level. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So question number 13. So question number 13 says the temperature in town A is 19.4 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature in town A. And the temperature in town B is 27.6 degrees Celsius less than the temperature in town A. Now, this is a calculator question, so let's work that out to begin with. So let's just write down town B, and we know its temperature is 27.6 degrees Celsius lower than the temperature in town A. So if we do 19.4 subtract 27.6, that would tell us the temperature in town B. So 19.4 subtract 27.6 is equal to minus 8.2. So minus 8.2 degrees Celsius. So that's the temperature in town B. And then we're told the temperature in town C is negative 6.2 degrees Celsius. And then the question says to find the midpoint of the temperature in town A and the temperature in town B. So in other words, we want to find the midpoint between the temperature in town B and the temperature in town C. So if we just find the midpoint of these two temperatures, that's our answer. So that's quite straightforward. I can actually see by looking at these two temperatures that if we've got minus 6.2, we've got minus 8.2, the midpoint would be minus 7.2. But let's just check this. To find the midpoint of two numbers, we would add them together and then divide by 2. So we just do minus 6.2 plus minus 8.2 and then see what we get. So let's add the two temperatures together. So minus 6.2 plus minus 8.2, that's equal to minus 14.4. And then if we divide by 2, if we take our 14.4 and divide by 2, that would tell us the midpoint of those two temperatures. So to find the midpoint of two numbers, you just add them together and divide by 2. So if we divide by 2, that's equal to negative 7.2 or minus 7.2 degrees Celsius. And that's it. So the midpoint of the temperatures in town B and town C would be minus 7.2 degrees Celsius. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the negative numbers real life practice questions. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have found it useful, please like it and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you need any extra help on negative numbers, in particular real life situations, go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll down to video number 209 or scan this QR code. But again, I really hope you found this video useful. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.